What it do, Dream Team? It's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video. Guys, here we are once again with what's clearly a scam, but Americans have been conditioned to believe it's normal. We reacted to one of these. This says part 1 in the video, but we reacted to one of these videos before, just a different channel. So we're gonna call this part 2 in our title. Now, before we jump into this, I need y'all to make sure y'all hit subscribe, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media, Patreon, all up top. You can subscribe to any of it. Put all the links in the description. All you gotta do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Human. I talk back. You got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon, or there's a Google form link in the description. Oh, I'm kind of scared to click on it. But that's what we're about to do. Go for it.
What's something that's clearly a scam
CEO
but
lawyer
Americans
edition.
have been conditioned to believe is normal?
Oh God, where do I begin? Okay, restaurants. Why is it okay for restaurants to pay waiters and waitresses $2.13 an hour, but it's the customer's fault for not providing a living wage to those employees?
You make a good point. Because I always say, although I feel like a servers, for a lot of professions that I've had, they made more money than me. They probably still make more money than I do. That's a good point. That right. If you're a customer and you go and you eat out and you don't tip, you're looked down upon for that. It's frowned upon. But why isn't it frowned upon that they're getting paid $2.13 an hour in the first place? That's a good point.
Customer's fault for not providing a living wage to those employees. Let's talk about how in college you'll pay 6 figures to get an education to land yourself a 5-figure job. Let's talk about how insurance companies make billions and billions of dollars a year, and they've branded themselves as always on your side and like a good neighbor, and they have this sweet little lizard that's on their commercials. But the lawyers that are literally fighting for justice are branded as ambulance chasers. Not to mention that we wouldn't even have a job if the insurance companies did the right thing all the time. Let's talk about how entrepreneurship is considered only for failures, but there's 1,700 millionaires born every single day in the United States, most of them entrepreneurs. Let's talk
1,700 born every day? Is that? Oh my Lord.
There's 1,700 millionaires born every single day in the United States, most of them entrepreneurs. Let's talk about how owning a house is a scam when you should be renting out a duplex.
What's something that's clearly a scam but Americans have been conditioned to believe is normal?
Not too long ago, I needed to go to the hospital and I went to an emergency room. They admitted me, had me sit in a chair for about 5 hours, and then after that sent me on my way because there were too many COVID patients. They gave me 2 Tylenol, $1,040. Let's see the breakdown. Oh yeah, that's cool, just going. So they turned me down. The next day I went back because I really wasn't feeling good. Kind of the same things went down. Let's see what they're charging me. Oh, that's just sweet. So then I go back for a 3rd day because I feel like I'm dying. This time, all they gave me was a shot in my arm and sent me on my way. Oh, it's just the best. Yes, I love it. So now I have to pay $2,500 in medical bills for 4 Tylenol and a shot of Salumedrol.
What's something that
don't make no sense. And I've definitely learned that our healthcare system is a scam. I've definitely learned that through watching a lot of videos. That's absolutely wild.
$2,500 in medical bills for 4 Tylenol and a shot of Salumedrol.
What's something that's clearly a scam but Americans have been conditioned to believe is normal?
The traditional 9-to-5 40-hour work week. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's better than the 1890s when a full-time manufacturing employee used to work 100 hours a week. I mean, thank God for the Fair Labor Standards Act in 1938, because there's no way I was working 100 hours. But a 9-to-5 truly doesn't even fit the lifestyle of a lot of Americans, let alone the fact that it sucks away our most productive waking hours. Wouldn't it be lovely if we could utilize even a little bit of that time for our spouses, our loved ones, our friends, our children? Hear this out, guys. There was an experiment done in New Zealand where the participants worked 32-hour 4-day work weeks while receiving the pay for a full 5-day week. The participants experienced a 24% improvement in their work-life balance, and supervisors confirmed that their employees actually had more creativity and better attendance. Essentially, workers had to get more work done in less time. But interestingly enough, this led to them working smarter, not harder. It's 2021 now. Can we please just recognize that this is corporate America's way of just having a bunch of people burn out for their benefit?
What's something
that's facts, bro. Yeah, no, I'm saying. Because 100-hour work weeks, first of all, that's absolutely insane, absolutely wild to me. I wouldn't have survived. I would have died. I'm not tough enough. I'll admit that. 40-hour work weeks, I hate those. That's still too much hours for me. Don't like it. 32, that's more doable. That's more doable. I like that idea.
Of just having a bunch of people burn out
but
for their benefit.
But still getting paid for 5.
What's something that's clearly a scam, but Americans have been conditioned to believe is normal?
The doctrine of hell. You know, fire, brimstone, burning for all eternity, being tortured by Satan. The biblical references to hell in the Bible, as American Christians know it, are threefold. 1, Sheol, a place of holding, a holding place waiting for judgment. 2, Hades, which is borrowing from the Greek conceptions of the underworld. And 3, the word commonly translated to hell in the New Testament is actually Gehenna. Gehenna was the city dump outside of Jerusalem where they burned trash. It was symbolically a place of national judgment, a place where God would hold Israel accountable for not having justice in their society. When the Bible was translated into English in the Middle Ages, translators didn't think English-speaking people would know where Gehenna was, so they used the word hell, which just meant to cover, like farmers would hell their potatoes in the winter. So yes, the doctrine of hell is a scam, and it's used to terrify and control people into submission.
What's something...
Is that just... Oh, they don't... I'm tripping. Is that just American Christianity? So, like, Christianity in other countries, it goes by Gehenna or a different name? I know different languages have different words, and so that was dumb to ask, but that's interesting.
Yes, the doctrine of hell is a scam, and it's used to terrify and control people into submission.
What's something that's clearly a scam, but Americans have been conditioned to believe is normal?
Multi-level marketing business scams. First example is...
Nah. This, you got a group of Americans that know what I'm saying. And I ain't gonna lie. Multi-level marketing, to me, it's not a scam to me. Because if you look at multi-level marketing and compare it to jobs, they almost do the same thing, right? At your job, you're an employee. The person on top of you makes more money than you. Person on top of them makes more money than them. Person on top of them makes more money. And this is all bound on how good you work, because you're in the store. You're doing all these things to a lot of the work. I think most of the work to keep the store running. Yet, you know what I'm saying? The higher up it goes, it seems like the less work, but the more money is made off of your work. And so, like she said, 9 to 5 scam, multi-level. So I think multi-level marketing business scams, it might be a scam, but it's no worse than a job.
Multi-level marketing business scams.
No worse than
First
scam
example
than a 9 to 5.
is Mary Kay. My mom fell for this one. Another common MLM cosmetics company is Avon. Another common scam is Amway. Another common MLM that people fall for is Young Living Essential Oils and doTERRA. One MLM sells leggings. Can you guess? It's LuLaRoe. This is probably the weirdest one I've seen so far, and it's Vantel Pearls. They host pearl parties on Facebook Lives where the seller opens up oysters and shows each person the pearl that they are getting. Weird and creepy. But yeah, if someone tries to sell you these products or recruit you to sell under them, don't do it.
What's something that's clearly a scam, but Americans have been...
That it's okay.
I think in multi-level marketing, though, you have a higher chance of moving up than you do at a job. That's just the way I look at it. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop talking.
What's something that's clearly a scam, but Americans have been...
That it's okay for the American diet to be so unbelievably dangerous. It's kind of stunning just how low the food standards are in the United States compared to other countries, and we'll get into the details of that in part 2. What you need to know for right now is we eat a ton of processed food because it's cheaper than healthy, but all of that contains more sugar, more salt, more chemicals, and as you guessed it, results in a high amount of heart disease, diabetes, mental illness. Like, it's bad, dude. All of it's connected to the food. And I know that there are some trolls right now with twitchy ass fingers ready to tell me that I'm just making excuses for why I'm fat, but I'm talking about the system as a whole. The fact is that if all of us switch to a healthy diet today in America, we don't have enough vegetables for everybody. That's a fact. So it's not exactly a mistake that 50% of us are overweight or obese. It's not because we're all lazy and stupid. We need to step up our food standards. More in part 2. The U.S. food standards, part 2. We're going to use the EU as our example today because most of the data I found on food systems compares the EU and the US, and you might ask why they're so different. It's because the EU operates with their regulatory system on a better safe than sorry approach, and US more operates on an innocent until proven guilty approach. As a result, there are literally chemicals in our food right now that are not legal for human consumption in the EU. Please feel free to look up the yoga mat chemical or even a potassium bromate. But warning, you're going to be pissed off. To the point that there are legitimately US food companies, major companies who do business overseas and know that they have to produce better versions of the same product. Here's Quaker Oats in the US. Here's the UK version.
Man,
and it just makes you wonder why the US government thinks it's okay to play hard and fast with our lives. Like, why don't we demand better? I want that. The US food standards part.
She going into part 3 of it. Dang, no, for real though. I've seen a lot of these food videos where just overseas people come to America and they almost get sick, or Americans go overseas, eat, and when they come back and start eating our food again, they get sick. And I mean, most of our country, right, is obese, or you know what I'm saying? And so, what she's saying makes sense. What she's saying is true, and it's not just an excuse. It's facts. Somebody said they go, like, one of your videos, a lady said she ate the same food in another country that she ate here, but ended up losing weight. I mean, that's gotta prove something, you feel me? All right, my bad, keep it going.
Why don't we demand better? I want that. The U.S. food standards, part 3. If you're like me, that is, you've lived in the U.S. your whole life, you're used to seeing a burger costing $1 and a salad costing $4, but it didn't actually have to be that way. Look at this interesting quote from the Union of Concerned Scientists. Unfortunately, one key player is conspicuously ignoring the U.S. government's nutrition advice. The U.S. government. Federal farm policy continues to incentivize overproduction of corn and soybeans, which are mostly used to produce, you guessed it, added sugar and processed foods. European governments, on the other hand, subsidize fresh produce, poultry, seafood, and as a result, not only does the food taste better, it's cheaper too. I can't possibly cover everything that's wrong with the food system, nor am I qualified to. So what I hope this little mini-series did for you is to get you to start thinking, did it have to be this way? No, it did not, by the way. So if you find yourself interested and you want to learn more, check out some documentaries. What the Health, Food Inc., Vegucated, Fed Up, Hungry for Change. Have fun.
What's something that's clearly a scam but Americans have been conditioned to believe is normal?
Like the whole thing, all of it. This whole thing that we're doing. It's the whole, it's this, all of it.
What's something that's clearly a scam but Americans have been conditioned to believe is normal?
Okay, story time. So about a year ago, I started feeling a bit sick and I lost quite a lot of weight in a short amount of time. So I went down and saw my doctor and he said, okay, I'm going to have to send you for some tests. These tests ended up being a full, complete blood work, ultrasound of all of my internal organs, CT scans of my organs. I then went to hospital and had a colonoscopy done and an endoscopy to biopsy my stomach. Try and guess how much all of that cost me.
You went in America? Or? Oh.
I live in Australia, by the way.
Okay.
What's something that's clearly...
That's how, yeah. You would have been in debt for the rest of your life if you would have did that here. $0.
I live in Australia, by the way.
What's something that's clearly a scam but Americans have been conditioned to believe is normal?
Am I going to go there? Yeah, I think I'm going to go there. Let me put my white coat on. I'm going to do this in one take, and I talk fast, so sorry if you can't keep up. You know the saying, you get what you pay for? That does not apply when it comes to U.S. healthcare.
Thanks.
The U.S. spends twice as much money on healthcare than it does compared to other countries, but yet we have the lowest life expectancy compared to these other developed nations. We have the highest obesity rates.
That's because we not going. I understand that because we're avoiding the hospital because of prices, so it makes sense that we do have the lowest lowest life expectancy, because people are not going to the hospital because they can't afford to go to the hospital because it's way too high. You know what I'm saying? And so when you got so many people in the population that don't go, of course your life expectancy goes down. So I guess if you can afford to pay for a hospital, I'm sure your expectancy is pretty high, right? But when you add up everybody as a whole and the people that can't afford to go, then as a whole, it's going to be low. So that one does make sense to me.
On healthcare than it does compared to other countries, but yet we have the lowest life expectancy compared to these other developed nations. We have the highest obesity rates, we have the highest maternal mortality, we have the highest disease burden, we have the highest hospitalizations, and we are not doing well. We are leading the world when it comes to COVID cases and deaths. Okay, so tell me why. Tell me why insurance companies have made over 20 billion in profits last year in 2019, and why the 8 top insurance company CEOs have combined salaries of over 140 million. Please someone explain this to me. Yeah. Thank you.
That don't make sense.
What's something that's clearly a scam but Americans have been conditioned to believe is normal?
Number one, believing that you don't have a culture, because I can 100% confirm that Americans do have their own unique culture. And Americans, you also know it when you talk about the difference between the East Coast and the West Coast. Don't lie to me. I've met you. I've seen how you mock people from Minnesota. Do not tell me that people from Minnesota and people from Boston act the same, or you would say they were the same. Also cheddar, because the reason that American cheese is orange, so when cheese was being shipped from the New World to England, they wanted to be able to tell the difference between the cheeses, so they dyed American cheddar orange using carrots. But then because it had all that extra time to mature on the boat, it tasted a lot sharper and a lot better than English cheese. And so they thought, instead of that extra time it had, they thought it was because of the colour. And so that's why American cheddar cheese is orange.
What's something that's clearly a scam but Americans have been conditioned to believe is normal?
Where do I start? Well, let's start with college. How is it that a 17 or 18-year-old high school student with no credit history can get approved for hundreds and thousands of dollars in student loans, but if they were to go and apply for a loan to start a new business, they would not get approved? And then while you're in school, they're teaching you how to be the best employee ever. But if you look at the numbers, the actual probability of that person with a degree to get a 6-figure job is pretty low. And then, of course, by the time my generation retires, Social Security is not going to be a thing, and we're basically being trained to work until we die. And then
preach.
It's not going to be a thing, and we're basically being trained to work until we die.
Nothing but truth here.
And then on top of that, we're being told to go and get a 30-year mortgage on a home that we live in. We're told that we own this home, and really we're just renting from the bank. And any debt on an asset that is not paying you is really a liability. Hey, but that's the American dream.
What's something that's clearly a scam but Americans have been conditioned to believe is normal?
A big tax refund is actually a good thing, when in reality that means that you overpaid the government. So now you're just getting that money back on an interest-free loan that you gave them throughout the entire working year. Thinking you're going to get a better deal from a dealership because you paid for a car cash. Buying a primary home because you think it's a good investment and you think that you're throwing your money.
You usually do get a better deal though. I mean, compared to the deal they offer you, it may not be a better deal. It may, you know what I'm saying? It's a better deal to you. It may kind of be the same deal to them, like that. You know what I'm saying? Either way, they're making their profit. But to you, usually when you pay for a car cash, you can talk them down some cash, some dollars. You feel me? All right, we'll keep it going.
Because you paid for a car cash. Buying a primary home because you think it's a good investment and you think that you're throwing your money away when you're renting. Believing that life insurance is too expensive, but funeral costs are normal. Getting a small business loan to get your business off the ground is considered risky, but picking up a $45,000, even $50,000 school loan before the age of 21 is considered normal for a job that's not even guaranteed.
What's something that's clearly a scam but Americans have been conditioned to believe is normal?
That a cup of coffee at Starbucks is worth $5. You fucking people are so stupid for doing that.
Yeah, I don't drink Starbucks. That coffee way. I don't even like coffee, but if I did, that's still way too expensive.
$5. You fucking people are so stupid for doing that. It's good though.
Have you or anyone you know ever shared a nice experience?
I love that, bro. That was a good video, and I agree with a lot of points in that one. That's all we got for this one. If you guys got a favorite video you want to see or hear me react to, you can subscribe to Patreon, leave a suggestion, or in the description section there's a Google form link. Hit the link, fill out your suggestion, send it to me. You want me to get to yours faster, others fill out premium. Make sure you hit subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media and Patreon all up top. You can subscribe to any of it, put all the links in the description. All you gotta do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Love talking to you guys. You guys are the most incredible team on YouTube. It's your boy D Neal. Out.